Welcome to the King of Iron Fist Tournament 7. Leo. Leo. Get ready for the next battle.
Alright, stream is live and everything seems to work properly. So, as always, I will go through the move list together with you guys and explain step by step the different uses of the different moves, what options you have and what your opponent can do against them. So, we start with 1-2, which is one of your 10 frame punishers. You've either got 1-2 or 1-4. I personally prefer 1-4 because it does slightly more damage. Both on block are safe and allow you to still step to the side or use movement in general. Then we've got 1-2-1-1 and 1-2-1-4. So 1-2-1-1 is unsafe at -13. Should the second hit connect on counter hit though, the rest of the string becomes guaranteed. The same rule applies to 1-2-1-4. If the... God damn it. Range. Ah. If the second connects on counter hit, the rest of the string becomes guaranteed as well. The second version ending on 4 ends on a high, so it's safe as well. At -6, and because of pushback you can now go for keep out counter hit moves, like down 2, down 1, up 3 plus 4, stuff like that. Or you could just go back to neutral and try to bait your opponent into whiffing stuff. Then we've got 1-2-4. The low can even get parried on hit, I believe. Let's check real quick. Ah, no. Or? Ah. So, your opponent won't be able to low parry if he gets hit by the first 2 jabs, but he will be able to block and while standing punish. So 1-4, our other 10 frame punish. Also, keep in mind, if the 4 connects on counter hit, you get a small mini combo. If the range is right. I lack the execution for it though. Or if you're incredibly good, you could pick up with crouch dash 3, which is pretty difficult though as well. Another thing you could do is go for a forward 3 and then go for stance shenanigans to apply some more pressure. Then we've got 2-1 and 2-2. So if you're not sure if your opponent is actually -11 or not, you go for 2-1 first to basically check the water if it truly is -11. And if you're sure, you go for 2-2 to get some additional damage in and some additional plus frames. 2-1 on block is safe. -7 allows you to go for parry setups right after as well. 2-2, however, is punishable. That's why I suggest to check with 2-1 first if certain moves of your opponent are punishable with that 11 frame punish or not. Then we've got 3-2-3 and 3-2-4. So 3-2-3, completely safe string. Last hit is very steppable, watch out for that. And it leaves you at -7, so you could go for back 1+2 parry setups. However, it is quite risky because it pushes your opponent a bit further away. Also, if you want to go for movement only, you can just do the first two and then go for your sidestep game. Or if you hold down, you can go for stance shenanigans again. Also, on countered, should the second hit connect on counter, the last hit is always guaranteed as well. Alright, Dual Rising Fists is Leo's Power Crush, -12, so it's punishable. On countered, it doesn't do much else except the distance you throw your... Yeah, no, it doesn't do much on countered. Then we've got 3+2. This one is has kind of like a built-in parry against punches. Let's see if I can show this. There we go. And as you can see, as our opponent is tumbling down to the ground, we should be able to, god damn it, pick him up with crouch dash 3. I lack the execution for that. However, what you can do instead as well is you can just go for forward 3 into stance and then 2 for some guaranteed damage. Or if you want to go for if you want to utilize Leo's key charge some more, you can go for down 4-2 and then hold 1+2 down to immediately go into key charge. That will give you some additional tools where certain strings gain some extensions, but we will cover that a bit later. Also, should this connect on counter hit, it immediately results in that kind of tumbling down knockdown. Same rules apply there as well, so pick up with crouch dash 3 into combo, or forward 3, hold down 2 for guaranteed damage. Then we've got forward 2-2. This is Leo's 14 frame punish. It's unsafe on block though, so be careful. -12. It's a bit delayable. And if the second connects on counter hit, again, forward 3, hold down, go for 2, or go for crouch dash 3 pickup if you have the execution for that. Forward 3. So forward 3 is great because we got two options. We can either go into stance by holding down, or we just use it on its own. We are neutral and go for one of Leo's jab strings, like that, or go for movement again. Depends on how you want to play Leo. Also, should this connect on counter hit, you kinda get a free follow-up. There might be more to this, but Ah, there we go. I actually got the pickup. So if you don't go into stance, you get a pickup for a combo. That's good to know. I guessed it already, but I didn't have a chance to try it myself there. So forward 4 is one of his main ways to get into stance. We've got back 1 to back 1-4 as well, but mainly we're gonna use forward 4. Gonna use that in combos most of the time as well. From there we got a wall bounce option. Also, if we don't do the second hit and just do the first and immediately hold down, we go into his other stance again, where we can properly mix our opponent once more. Also, if we hold down forward from his one leg stance, we go into his crouch dash, and if we hold down we can stay in full crouch for full crouch mix up. Yeah, this is basically his screw move. If our forward 4 connects on counter hit and we immediately follow up with a 2, it's a counter hit combo starter basically. This is our mid option from stance, -12, which is better than the usual hop kick, because usually hop kicks are around -13. Then we've got the stomp, leaves us at +9, so we can pretty much go for everything we want. We could either go immediately for stance once more and mix them from there, go for any kind of string we like, depends on how you want to play Leo. Then we've got the 1+2 option. This we can use as a parry setup. Should our opponent get hit by this uncountered, we get a combo for free. And we're mainly going to use this as a wall combo ender. Then we've got the low. That one, if it gets blocked, is launch punishable, so watch out for that. Gives you, however, some good Oki, so you could go for forward 4-2 instantly to then go for key charge stuff, but more to that later down the line. Forward 1+2 is one of Leo's wall bounce moves, -14, so some characters will be able to punish that, so watch out there, use with care. Forward 3+2 is a safe auto sidestep move, -9, we're not allowed to move around anymore, we can only hold back to go back into block. Then we've got down forward 1-2, leaves us at -6 should both hits get blocked. We can go from parry for parry setups from there if we want to, or if we want to just harass our opponent with down forward 1s, because it's only -1 on block, it's great for moving around and annoying our opponent with small pokes. And should he get cheeky and try to interrupt us in a situation where he shouldn't have, and it connects uncounted, we get that hard knockdown into a guaranteed shoulder, or forward 4-2, or forward 4-3 down into stance 2. Those are the options you have after hard knockdowns like that. Then we've got his down 4-2, one of his 15 frame launchers. Here for some reason, normally a down 4-2 that launches would be around -12, stuff like that. For Leo it's -13 because it has pretty good tracking to both sides. Yeah, something like that. If you notice your opponent likes to step a lot, either use down forward 2 or down forward 3. So, down forward 3 we already mentioned. 17 frame homing mid. Pretty darn good for a homing move. The range is okay as well. You could kinda use it as a keep out move if you've got the feeling down for the range. On block it's -9, so no more movement for you, you just go back into block, that's it. Down forward 3+2. It is reactable for your opponent, it can be reactable, so there is a risk of getting low parried there. However, only -12 on block, so if your opponent isn't the kind of guy who low parries a lot, feel free to throw this out, because the punish you will eat won't be as bad as with some other moves. Also, uncountered, it becomes a countered combo starter, so pretty good stuff. Also, in some combos, you can actually use that move to do your combos for style points if you feel like it. Down 1. Down 1 is one of your safe counter hit options. It's a mid and leaves you at -2, so feel free to sidestep right after. On counter hit, yeah. As I already said, it becomes a combo starter. It has quite some range as well, so if you get the feeling down for that, you can annoy your opponent from range 2 or starting range 3. Same applies to down 2. Only that with down 2 you actually gain plus frames and force your opponent into crouch, if you really want to apply some pressure. Also, on counter hit, there you don't get the pickup, but you get the stomp with down 3+4. I've tried to utilize forward 3 and then go into stance. Stance 2 doesn't seem to connect, but you could use the opportunity to mix your opponent from there with either full crouch forward 3 or stance 2 to annoy them. Then we've got down forward 2. As you can see, it pushes your opponent quite far away, so you could go for up 3+4 as a keep out tool, down forward 3, down 2 or down 1, depending on what kind of counter hits you want. One thing I forgot to mention, however, down 1 and down 2 are quite steppable, so you gotta place them well. Don't overuse them against opponents who like to move around a lot. Be careful with those two. With down 4-2, if the first hit connects on counter hit, the second becomes guaranteed as well. If you hold 1+2 right after, you key charge again to go for those different key charge extension moves you have with Leo. Also, if you just use down 4, great low poking tool, leaves you at -1 and leaves you free, leaves you at a spot where you can feel free to move around still, with either backdashing or sidestepping. Sidestepping into his orbit, into Leo's orbital with up 3+4, really good tool as well. Then we've got Fobu, one of his, I say one of his stances, but he only has to, or her. It has quite the high crush property. Sometimes, if timed properly and if you don't press immediately, you even will crush some mids. So really great stance. You can't really block from it, however, so you can get hop kicked out of it sometimes. We've got 1-2 from stance with a guaranteed down 4-2 follow-up. We just use down 4-2 if we want to play it safe, but if we want to play a bit more risky, we hold 1+2 and then go for those key charge extensions. Both key charge extensions are launch punishable on block though. But we'll cover that in time. So then we've got stance 2. As you can see, it counts as a mid and as -9, pushes our opponent away quite a bit. So we could go for keyboard stuff again, so up 3+4, down forward 3, down 1, down 2. Because we push our opponent quite far away. So even if he were to go for a mid, the mid would most likely whiff. If he got any fast mid strings, however, like Jin's down forward 1-4 or stuff like that, or Dragunov's down forward 1-4, you might get clipped. So depending on which character you're facing off against, you have to kind of keep that in mind. Then we've got Bofu 3. Fobu 3. Unblock gives you huge amounts of plus frames. If this gets blocked, feel free to do whatever you'd like, because doesn't matter what your opponent does, he will most likely be too slow to do anything against you. If this connects on hit, because it's a homing move, some people might get tempted to try and step Leo's Fobu stance. So if you see your opponent stepping a lot, you go for the 3 option to get the launch for free and basically punish them for their movement attempt to negate your stance. Then we've got 4. With this we enter the other stance. If we feel like it, we could basically switch between those 2 stances continuously. So I would start with Fobu, right? Go for the 4 option, then 1, hold down and rinse and repeat, right? It's quite slow though, and it's more for confusion than actual frame advantage, so don't overdo this. Also, same as with forward 4, should this connect on counter hit, oops, it's combo time again. Alright, then we've got 1+2 for those opponents who love to interrupt us or love to try. We get a guaranteed shoulder with forward 1+2 or forward 4-2 and can go for the key charge if we feel like it. Oops. Or forward 4-3, hold down, go for 2. Like, those are the options we have. Yeah. And stance-wise, we pretty much are finished with stances. Maybe one thing I kind of forgot to mention. If you enter Leo's first stance, you are +9, right? The only options that are not interruptible are 2 and 1-2, right? After 1-2, you can't move around anymore. You're -9. You just go back into the defense, that's it. With 2, however, you're -4. You can still try to sidestep or try to set up some parries if you want to play a bit more risky. Alright, that was that. Down back 2-2 is one of your many 14 frame punishers. 14 frame punishment wise, you've got forward 2-2, which is punishable on block though with -12. You've got 3-2 if you just want the frame advantage or wanted to have this connect and block and move around, but you accidentally hit your opponent because he ran into it or stuff like that. And down back 2-2, right? Down back 2-2 you use when you're not sure if your opponent is actually -14, right? Forward 2-2 you use when you know that your opponent is at least -14, right? Also -4. Feel free to step right after, and if a second connects on counter hit, you get a guaranteed stomp. There we go. Then we've got down back 3. Very, very evasive move. Sometimes you will evade mids. High crush is guaranteed. I believe it was very safe on block as well. Yeah, -8, and look at that pushback. You could go for backdashes or sidestep movement, even though you're -8, just because of the pushback. If you play against a character like Heihachi or Fakumam, however, you don't really want to move there, because they've got quite the jab range. Gigas as well. Against any other character though, feel free to try your luck, basically. Alright, then we've got down back 4-1. If you go for this, never only do the first move. It's already launch punishable on block. Do the full thing, which you. If you do the full thing, you get the knockdown, as you can see. If you only do the first, +2, that's it. Also, if you're on key charge and press 2 right after, you get that blue spark extension for some additional damage. So if I were to... also, 4 14 frame punishers. 3-2, forward 2-2, down back 2-2, and forward 4-4. Forward 4-4 being the hardest of them all. However, if forward 4-2 connects, you can go for the key charge when you hold 1+2 down right after. And you do that because of strings like this one. Because now it's a mix-up between this string right here and back 3-1-2, which does a lot of damage. However, the low on block is launch punishable as fuck. -31. That really hurts. And the other string, launch punishable block as well. So if you want to play in a more risky, flashy kind of style, you can use those, of course. But it's quite risky. Then we've got down back 1+2-1. We can kinda hit confirm this. As you can see, there's a slight delay. So if I were to do this immediately, that's me doing it immediately, right? And with a delay. So it's quite hit confirmable. You just need to get used to the time window. Also, if you hold down right after, you go into his Bofu stance and can mix your opponent from there with the different stance options we've covered. Or you could just negate the stance by staying down and go for full crouch forward 3 for some guaranteed damage. Then we've got back 1-4. It's another option to go into stance. On counter hit, the full string becomes a natural string, as you can see. Quite a lot of damage, good frame advantage as well. If it's not on counter hit, however, it's the same as if only forward 4 on block would connect. As you can see, it's only +9. Same here. Then we've got back to 1, 15 frame mid-high string. So this we can use from a distance because it got quite some range, right? Down forward 1, 2 and back to 1 are basically our constant mid checks we like to use. However, down forward 1 we love to use to move around right after, and if our opponent gets too cheeky, then hit him with a heavy counter hit, right? While 2-1 is more of a gap bridge to then go for sidestep movement, because down forward 1-2, if it gets blocked, you are not allowed to move anymore. You can go for parries, but you can't move, right? You can only move if you just use down forward 1 and then move right after. With back to 1, however, if you do the full string, you're -4, the full string connected on block, and then you can still move around. That's like the key difference between those two. Also, you've got a mid-mid version, so his back to 1 and back to 1+2 you can kind of compare with Heihachi's down forward 1-1 string and down forward 1-2, this being the mid. It's quite delayable, as you can see, only -11, so really good stuff right there. And on counter hit you can get a pickup if you got the execution. Like for max damage, I believe you want to immediately pick up with a knee. I don't have that execution, you might have it. If you have it, feel free to use. Alright, then we've got back 3-1. From there, if we hold down, we enter Bofu stance or Fobu, something like that. Basically the evasive stance. If we hold back, we retreat into the other stance to bait our opponent into doing mistakes and then immediately punishing with a small hit, a launch, or cancel that into crouch dash to catch up with a retreating opponent. Back for 1+2 is his second wall bounce. You can kinda hit confirm it, I feel, but the timing is very strict compared to other strings Leo has. And on block -12, so it is punishable. Not as bad as forward 1+2. Forward 1+2 is hella punishable with -14. You can get launched for that. So Dragon's Impact is a bit safer in that regard. Yeah, back 3+4 is the manual transition into stance to gain some distance. If you're not too confident in your backdashing, you could just go for the manual input to bait your opponent into whiffing stuff. Very, very evasive as well. Back 1+4 is one of those special strings where you hit high and low at the same time. It's 19 frames fast and uncounted leaves you at +16. You won't get the proper launch with down forward 2, as you can see. However, you can go for, what was it again? Let me check real quick. You can go for forward 2 if you time it properly. It's possible. My execution just sucks. God damn it. There we go. So that's guaranteed if back 1+4 hits on counter. Or you could go for back to 1+2 if you just want the guaranteed damage. Like that. 56 damage for such a weird counter hit. Quite good, I would say. As you can see, because you might have asked yourself, +16, I should be able to launch my opponent somehow, right? As we saw with down forward 2, we don't get the proper launch, and Leo's hop kick doesn't have the range there. So sadly we don't get the launch itself, but we get those kind of counter hits, right? Then we've got back 3+2. Leo's unblockable. It's on the slower side. Yeah. Basically Leo's version of Orbital. On hit you're +6 and it forces crouch, so you can immediately go for your mid-check strings or your mid-check pokes. If it connects on counter hit, combo launcher, combo starter, right? Also great keep out tool. And on block, neutral on block, and it forces your opponent into crouch. Against opponents who love to abuse full crouch moves when they got pushed into the crouching position, use with care, however. Because if you force your opponent into crouch, now your opponent has the chance to mix you with full crouch and while standing moves. So you kinda need to watch out there. Then we've got up forward 1-1. This is your safe 13 frame punish, right? Leaves you at +15. You can use it as a screw move if you feel like it. And it's the safe way to check if certain moves are punishable with 13 frame moves. So if you're not sure if something is -13, you go for this, because on block, -9, it's safe. Can't move around anymore, but you can go back into defense and should be fine. If you now got the knowledge that something is -13, you go for this string. Not only because it does more damage, but because you can go into his key charge from there as well. Also, at the wall, you will break the wall, or get a wall split as well. Alright. On block, however, -14. So if you misjudged a situation and your opponent has a 14 frame launcher, your ass is gonna get launched. That's why I suggest to check certain strings from your opponent with up forward 1-1 first to see if they are actually -13 or not, and then when you know for sure that they are at least -13, you go for the unsafe version. Alright, then we've got up forward 2-1. We get a follow-up with down forward 2, where we can enter key charge if we feel like it. On block, completely safe as well at -8. We can go for parry setups if we expect our opponent to use something that's lower than a jab, but if we expect our opponent to use any kind of jabs, it's better to not go for the parry there. Up forward 3. Safe wall split move at the wall for us. completely safe as well at -9. Can't sidestep, can't move, but we can go back into the defense and won't get punished. Up forward 4 is our hop kick with Leo, -13 like the usual hop kick. The range is kinda weird. Sometimes it looks like it should hit and it doesn't, and sometimes it hits though it looks like it shouldn't. If you go for 15 frame Punisher, go for down forward 2 instead. I feel like it's better in that regard. Yeah, forward 2 we already talked about. Safe at -9 and we can enter key charge by holding 1+2. Forward 3 was our follow-up move after a full crouch forward 3. Also, we can use that to close the gap between us and our opponent. If we immediately go into stance, we're neutral. If we don't go into stance, we're -7 and could use that for parry setups. When we're quite sure that our opponent is always gonna try and interrupt us, we're gonna go for the power crush right after, to punish our opponent for trying to interrupt the stance. And once he respects that, we're gonna mix him from there. Alright, forward 4, 3, 4. You can use that as a long range with punish. Does okay damage, right? The last hit I would not really recommend, because it's gonna get low parried most of the time. Should it connect on counter hit, however, you get a combo as well, like you would expect. Also, forward 4, 3 and back to 1 most of the time you're gonna use for wall carry. Oops. Alright, let's do another one. Like so. You get quite the decent high split as well. So yeah, at least those are the wall carry options I know of. Back forward 1+2, 1+2, 2. I remember there being a Blue Spark version as well, but I can't remember the conditions to trigger that one. So you might need to check that out for yourself. This is basically one of your wall ending strings you have. Never only do the first one, because it's launch punishable. Never only do 2, because it can be launch punishable by some characters. Should you go for this, do the full thing. Should you want to utilize it out of neutral, which I wouldn't recommend. Also, if the second connects and counter it, the last becomes guaranteed as well. Ah, there's one thing I can... Ah, no. No extension in the sense I would have expected. So this is our crouch dash low. If the low connects, we get a guaranteed while standing for 1+2. If we just hit our opponent normally, we're -1. So we could step up to try and sidestep our opponent, or to immediately crouch cancel and go for another low to evade highs and fish for that sweet low countered. Don't get too predictable though, because you will get low parried otherwise. Then we've got quarter circle forward 2. On counter hit, we've got that tumbling knockdown. If you got the execution, you can pick up with crouch dash 3. I don't have that execution. So I go for forward 3, hold down, and then go for 2. So good damage nonetheless. 50 damage for free, even if you can't get the combo pickup like I can. Like I can't as well. Also, if you hold back immediately, you are gonna enter the first of Leo's 2 stances. We've got the string extension there as well. Oops. Leaves us at +7. Also, if the second connects uncountered as well, we get the tumbling knockdown again. So same rules apply. Crouch dash 3 for pickup, or forward 3, hold down 2. Doesn't matter if crouch dash 2 or crouch dash 1 connect on block. Oops. Both are safe. If you go for full string, you're -6 and can go for parry setups as well if you feel like it. Then we've got crouch dash 3+4, homing and screw. Yes, there are probably some combos you can do like that, and where you can utilize that. You might be able to use that for wall carry as well, though I haven't tried. Also, because it leaves you at -6, you can go for parry setups right after if you feel like it. This move you basically use against opponents who try and sidestep your different strings with you. So this is your way of checking them so they don't constantly step you, because Leo is quite steppable. Then we've got our running 3, leaves us at +9, so good stuff right there. Very linear though, so don't get too obvious with it. Then we've got while standing 1 for 1. It's our 14 frame punish if we only do the first 2. The last hit isn't guaranteed and can be launched by some characters. If the second connects on counter hit, however, the first becomes a guaranteed hit as well. Yeah, while standing 2 is our 16 frame while standing launcher. We don't have a proper while standing 15 frame launcher. If we are blocking a low, that's -15 and we want to launch punish that, we need to crouch cancel into hop kick, because while standing 2 would be too slow in that kind of situation. Then we've got while standing 3-1-2, and that knee might seem familiar. It's the same knee you can get from the crouch dash, so it's the same string. That knee most of the time you're gonna use for pickups or combo extensions, like so. Yeah. The first 2 hits are guaranteed. The last one isn't, however. The string itself is safe. If your opponent knows Leo very well, however, they're gonna duck the last hit and launch punish. Also, if the second hit connects on counter, you get a knockdown into a stomp attempt at the wall. The stomp is pretty much guaranteed. On open ground, most of the time the stomp will just whiff, so I suggest you go for down 4 instead, just to get some additional damage in, you know. Yeah, while standing 4-1+2 is our 11 frame punish. While standing 1+2 is our 13 frame punish and wall bounce. We need to be sure, however, that our opponent is actually -13, because if this gets blocked, oops, let's see, it's launch punishable. Hello. Alright, full crouch forward 3 is our knockdown into guaranteed follow-up, right? So if our opponent just keeps standing because he doesn't really fear our lows, we can cancel some stances to go into crouch dash, stay down, and then apply the full crouch move to mess with our opponent. Oh, sidestep 1+2, I completely forgot about that move. Alright, let's check this one out together. So this one seems to result into the tumbling knockdown again. So if you've got the execution, you could pick up with crouch dash 3. Or if you don't have the execution, you go for the usual forward 3, down, and then 2 for damage. Yeah, this one is very situational. If you are fighting against a character where after breaking a grab you're standing back to back, like Kunimitsu's grab out of set, for example, you could use that to punish them for said grab attempt. Yeah, that's just the stomp. 10-hit combo we can pretty much ignore. Grabs we can pretty much ignore except forward 1+2. If you've got your back to the wall yourself, you go for that grab to switch sides and get a wall combo for free. I'm gonna show that in a bit. Yeah, this is a parry that only works against high punches. Very, very stylish as well. As soon as you throw your opponent off balance, you press 4 and get that. And as you can see, you've got your back to your opponent, so you could go for 1+2 right after, if you expect your opponent to immediately use some kind of get-up kick. Yeah, back 1+2, now it gets interesting. If you parry a punch, you go for 2-2. Oops. For the follow-up, right? If you parry a kick, however, as you can see, you throw them off balance, and the animation is similar to forward 2. So if you hold 1+2 right after, you go into key charge. And then go for the different key charge extensions, like back 3-1-2 or down back 4-1-2, if you want to style on your opponent. Then we've got back 1+3 and back 2+4. Those we are mainly going to use at the wall. There's one thing I wanted to check first. So it should work against kicks and punches. We'll check that out real quick. So that's against punches. Ah, crap. The second kick is too fast, can't parry in between. Gonna do it like that. So, if you parry the leg, it's some guaranteed damage, where you don't even need to do any kind of additional button presses, right? The timing is incredibly strict though, as you can see. The parry with back 1+2 is way more lenient. The parry window is way bigger. Most of the time we're going to use that parry mainly at the wall, when we want to get away from the wall. and get some juicy setup, so to speak. Yeah, forward 4-2, rage drive. We basically hold forward 4-2, knocks our opponent away quite a bit. And if you can remember, back 1+4 uncountered gave us a guaranteed forward 4-2. So if we got the timing down, we get the rage drive guaranteed if back 1+4 connects uncountered. So that's some nice stuff to keep in mind. Alright, now to show some world stuff real quick.
Get ready for the next battle.
Alright, perhaps to just show what a normal combo would look like. Like back 1-4 and then 3-4 is one of the enders you have. Another ender you have would be back forward 1+2, 1+2, 2. Or, oops, I got confused here myself. Or back 1-4 and then 1+2. Also, there was something special at the wall as well. Oops. If you are able to bait your opponent into using a move that's -13 at the wall, like a hop kick for example, or any kind of launch that's at least -13, you can punish your opponent with up forward 1-2, hold 1+2 to then go for the key charge, and then use back 3-1-2 as your wall ender basically, if you want to do stuff with style. Let's see. All guaranteed. Also, we've got the other extension string with down back 4-1-2, if you remember this one. That one you sadly can't use as a wall ender. However, if you want to get a wall break, that's one of your must-have options or go-to options. As you can see, I did the extension there, so key charging and having your opponent at the wall, it's more of a mind game for your opponent to kind of feel the guaranteed mid option. This one right here, right? Because the hell sweep on its own is always a constant threat, which will result in a wall break. At the wall itself, however, you won't get a clean wall split that way. If you do the mid key charge version with back 3-1-2, however, oops, you get the wall split. And very good damage. And now stuff gets interesting. If you are in rage and have the key charge and your opponent to the wall, so you have to meet multiple conditions, so to speak. Oops. Let's see. You can go for the string twice. Oh goddamn, my execution sucks today. Ha! Goddamn. Alright, let's see. Do I suck that bad today? What's wrong with me? Normally you should be able to key charge again. But I just can't get it done somehow. There we go. And if the wall splat on its own, or different, to tell it differently. So while forward 4-2 would immediately wall splat, if you want another wall splat, you can go for the rage drive. Normally, you should be able to go for it again, so you can do it twice, theoretically. But I can't get it to work today. I don't have the execution for it. Let's see. Parry setup. I wanted to talk about as well. So if we got our back, or let's cover the throw first. So if we've got our back to the wall and we want to get out of there and gain some additional damage while we're at it, we go for forward 1+2, and as you can see, it does quite a lot of damage. And that's from one grab where we get out of a bad situation, reverse that on our opponent, and get some additional damage in. So, great stuff. Opponents who know Leo very, very well, however, are going to be ready for the 1+2 break, of course. Because it's obvious from a Leo player's perspective. Jesus Christ, I can't talk nor I can play today. Alright, parry setup. If they got you at the wall and they are harassing you with different kinds of punches, you can go for back 2+4 or back 1+3. That way, with forward 4-2, you would actually break them through the wall, if it's a breakable wall or breakable balcony, or you can go for the shoulder. Go for up 3+4, right, to ground them, and then immediately go for I believe it was 2-2. Yeah, 2-2 becomes guaranteed if they try to stand up immediately or try to use any get-up kick at all. There are different kind of setups you can go for in those kind of situations, depending on what move you utilize. For some reason, while 2-2 hits, it has some kind of weird extending hitbox, I feel like. Yeah. The first high feels more like a mid somehow. I don't know why it is, but that's why this works right here. Because the situation in itself is quite a we're putting our opponent at quite the disadvantage there. We could go for the hell sweep in that situation as well. Or if we expect our opponent to press something, go for down 4-2 and then go for a key charge. Depending on which option our opponent selects, however, it might very well be that we ourselves get interrupted. Alright, just to show the balcony break again. There I didn't even need to do the follow-up, as you can see. The parry itself already served as the balcony or wall break. can't really do the normal combo, as you can see. So what I would suggest to do instead is to immediately screw, go for forward, forward 3, hold down, and then it's the mix-up between stance 2 and full crouch forward 3, if we really want to annoy our opponent. Alright, and I believe we pretty much covered everything regarding you. Just to summarize real quick, I'm gonna go through the different kind of punishers we have with Leo real quick. So we've got that summarized. Alright, so for 10 frame, position switch. For 10 frame we've got 1-2 or 1-4. For 11 frame we got 2-1 and 2-2. For 12 frames we could just use 4 if we feel like it, but I suggest you stick to 2-2 or 2-1. Then for 13 frames we've got up forward 1-1 and up forward 1-2, where if you hold 1 plus 2 you can go into key charge for the different kind of key charge string extensions. For 14 frames we've got 3-2, forward forward 2, down back 2-2, and I feel like I might have missed one, but forward forward 2-2, right. So 3-2, forward 2-2, forward forward 2, and down back 2-2. That are all the different 14 frame punishers you have with Leo. And for 15 frames we've got back 2-1, back 2-1 plus 2, down forward 2, and up forward 4, the hop kick. Yeah, those are the most important punishers. And for the different key charge extensions we've got back 3-1-2 and down back forward 1-2. And for the different stance transitions, just to have the most important stuff summarized, after back 1 you can either hold back or down to go into the different stances. After 3-2 you can only hold down, you can't hold back to go into stance. After forward 3 you can go into stance by holding down. After forward 3 you can hold down to get into stance. After crouch dash 2 you can hold back to go into stance. What else was there? Right. From his first stance, if you press 1 and then hold down, you go into the Fobu or Bofu stance. And from there, if you press 4, you can basically keep switching between those two again and again and again and again. Right, and down back 1 plus 2 if you hold down, that's another stance transition you have. That should have covered all the stance transitions. I might have missed one, but I think I pretty much covered everything I know about the character at least. Combo wise, I won't really show stuff myself because the combos I do are not optimal. It's better to look some videos up for max damage combos for Leo. Alright, that's it from me. I hope we learned some new stuff together, and I will see you next stream or next tutorial. Till then.